to the Fantasy MLB DFS podcast with hosts Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook live stream and podcast here on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm social channels. We are breaking down the 13-game main slate on a Tuesday. James, my guy, how we doing?
What's going on? Happy Tuesday. Big slate, 13 games, including Coors Field. Not your typical top tier of pitching here, John. As we dive in, we're going to talk about some guys that I think you and I both think are maybe a little too overpriced. I already see you looking at Lucas Giolito's name.
There's four guys over 10K that shouldn't be over 10K. So
no, one of them's almost 12K. Like, yeah. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just happy to be here. As my dog sleeps in the background. Honestly, you know what? Yes, agreed.
Yeah, amen to that. So, yeah, we got a big slate to talk about here, 13 games. We'll get into it, of course, before we do that. Shout out to rtsports.com, real-time fantasy sports. If you haven't yet signed up over at real-time fantasy sports, go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users will get a 100% deposit match with their first deposit, can partake in their DFS Pick'em contest or their fantasy football, best ball, and seasonal championship contests that are live out there now. You can scan the QR code on the screen, or again, you can go to fantasy or rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. Let's get into it, James, here, breaking down 13 games, talking about pitching. Wheeler, Montgomery, Giolito, Ober, all up over 10K. I am not sure either of them should be nearly as expensive as they are. Matchup-wise, I don't know which one I'd even want to go to. I know for sure I am not playing Lucas Giolito against Texas, for sure. Like, definitely not playing Lucas Giolito versus Texas. You could, maybe kind of sort of make a case for everybody else. I bet Bailey Ober draws some attention here, but some guys on Detroit, man, Torkelson, Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, they're heating up. They're doing some damage at the plate. I mean, I don't know, man. Is it weird to say, I may just full fade the 10K and above tier on 13 games?
No, we just saw Detroit lit Ober up for 11 hits the last time they faced. So, second time in 3 starts, he's allowed 11 hits, So, I think it's a full fade. The only one really I feel like even has upside is Wheeler, but at 11.6, is there upside? I don't know. There's no even need to get there. So, truthfully, it's all right, you look at the slate. I see Bobby Miller at 93. That's somewhere I'd be willing to possibly start. And then it's Jack Flaherty.
We have 13 games of crap. That's what we got right here for pitching. You want Flaherty versus San Diego? I don't.
San Diego hasn't been. I mean, I know what you're saying, but they haven't been great.
Sure.
They're right-handed dominant lineup that has definitely been better against lefties. I don't know. I was very hesitant with my Flaherty, but there's 26 landmines here.
Again, I don't know where to go.
Nick Pivetta
against Washington, yeah, probably.
Hendricks,
maybe, and not at home. Terrible at home. Atrocious at home.
He's been bad at home.
Maybe if the wind's blowing in.
Faedo has been okay since in his last 2 starts. 6 scoreless against San Diego. Was decent against Minnesota. Gets to run it back.
10 strikeout game against Chicago. So there's
way earlier in the year, but yeah. Little was actually pretty good in his last start against St. Louis. He continues to have double-digit fantasy points. That might be good enough on this slate. And he gets San Francisco, who's been anemic.
How did we pull this?
I don't know. Honestly, John, I'm playing
High block, Ernie Hancock, Dakota Hudson.
I'm probably going
here. Shout out to Mark on the Ernie Hancock. That was a little inside joke to the group, little inside joke for the group. Emerson Hancock here.
I'm probably playing him. I'm probably playing. I'm probably playing Hancock.
They're feeding Luis Severino to Atlanta. Beck will be an opener at some point here. Ciccone in Colorado. Gonna go there. Bailey Falter against the Mets. No thanks. Jordan Lyles against Seattle. Peterson versus Pittsburgh. Tucson. Yeah. Yeah, against the Cubs.
Tucson.
Tukey.
Give me your top 3 pitchers on this slate. Pick top 3.
Maybe Kikuchi. Yeah, Miller. I'll probably throw Montgomery, I guess, but like not at 11K.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
But like maybe
Pivetta, I think, is in my top 3.
Oh, I think Pivetta. Yeah, I think Pivetta is worthy of the conversation. But again, Washington doesn't strike out.
I know, but we have such a fine line on this slate.
I've never seen a 13-game slate with a whole slate of like unplayable pitching. Bobby Miller may be the highest rostered pitcher on the slate.
Probably.
And he hasn't cracked 20
I could get away
since June.
Miller Pivetta duo or a Pivetta.
I think Kikuchi's the guy.
Philly's been hitting lefty.
I know, but like
Philly's been really good.
Kikuchi's been
let's
good.
Look up Philly again.
The Dodgers, he had the Dodgers to 1 earn, had Baltimore to 1 earn, shut out Seattle.
That's true. And he was really good against Cleveland.
5 stars. He hasn't allowed more than 1 earned in 5 starts.
No, it's true. All right. I'm in. Kikuchi Pivetta. Just pencil it in now. We're not. We're playing Nick Pivetta. I know this is gonna bite us. I'm sorry that it's coming against your Washington Nationals, but
I don't know. Like you can take a stab on Kyle Hendricks, but his home splits are horrific. And I think it has to do with the wind, but I could be wrong. But the ballpark isn't. I don't know. I played him against the Mets. He was great for what he was. If he got a win, he would have given me 19 fantasy points. Would have been perfect. They blew that game. Faced the White Sox earlier in Chicago, 6 1/3, 3 earned, 4 Ks. Got you 17 fantasy points. If you give me 17 fantasy points and $7,400 again, we're winners. So
if
I don't see a path for anybody under 7K to break the slate.
I would say if there's not a lot of wind in Kansas City, I would play Emerson Hancock.
I thought you were going to tell me. I thought you were about to tell me Jordan Lyles.
I would play one of them if there's no wind, just because Seattle strikes out so much. Sure. There's like a 6 to 7 strikeout probably upside.
Yeah, I guess Emerson would be the guy, but Kansas City blitzed Gilbert in the first inning of this game. So
yeah, I know, but let's say Gilbert or let's say Hancock, the same start happens and he limits the damage kind of like Gilbert has the rest of the start. At 5,500, you can get away with that.
I agree. Especially
when we don't know what the hell to do, right? Like, what else do you even do at this position?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. It's an ugly spot to be in. I would probably agree with you. Emerson Hancock, of anybody under 7K, would be the one to take a shot on, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And Little. And I would take a shot on Little at 6,800.
It's not terrible, but
I mean, dude, again, we're we're picking needles out of a haystack.
Yeah. I guess it's a good ballpark for him.
And it's a terrible offense.
No strikeouts. Yeah, and they'll get, and Tampa Bay gets an opener, I guess. So, man, I'm telling you, those of you watching in, who's on the playbook Tuesday? Is that Breland? No, that ain't Bender. No.
Breland?
Henry, maybe? One of the two. Well, good luck to them. We'll see. I make the schedule. I should just know this, but I never do. So
good luck to them. was the statement from Jon Impemba here. That is hilarious. Good luck to them.
So,
Oh, boy,
anyways, let's move on. Let's go into the. There's obviously enough hitting for us to pick from on this slate. I mentioned that Luis Severino is facing the Braves, so
yeah,
Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Murphy,
every Brave,
Darno,
every single one that you want, play them all.
If Aldi sits out again, like Nicky Lopez has been another monster tonight.
All 9. I might play a Braves bench guy, and he might outscore. He might score
that he
more.
comes in, yeah. Let's put it this way: Nicky Lopez is cheaper on Tuesday slate than he was on Monday slate,
and he's
with dual positional eligibility, shortstop, outfield. So, yeah, you could do that thing if you needed to do it on a 13 gamer to fit in Acuna and Olson and Nicky Lopez. They put it this way. Also, Michael Harris hit second tonight because Albies is out. So, like, just all the juice going right there to the Braves, for sure. What's your other stack play? What's your next team after the Braves? I guess against Giolito, right? Seager,
like
Lowe.
the Giolito, yeah. I mean,
Jonah Heim probably because Garver hit today versus a lefty, so Heim tomorrow versus righty, or today versus righty.
Yep. I like. Obviously, it's a core slate, and Ty Block is on the mound, and I understand Ty Block pitched well the last time we saw him, but Arizona, Walker, Marte, both those guys are 58, 54 respectively. Mm-hmm. So I would play both those guys. Other stacks, we get the Braves, the Dodgers against Adrian Hauser. Adrian Hauser hasn't been great at all.
No.
No, dude. I mean, it's like
he has not been very good. Yeah, Freeman.
You can play some Mets here, John. They get Bailey Falter,
sure,
and Alonso, another big game on Monday. Lindor had a really good game on Monday too. Had a double, stolen base, couple hits. You could play some Mets. I mean, I think Falter gave up 4 earned, 8 hits, and 2 home runs, and in the Atlanta start. So some Mets are a little intriguing as well.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Hey, we mentioned some value guys already on the slate, but again, if you wanted to go ahead and just attack some of the, we talked about Ober getting knocked out, Torkelson's 42, starting to heat up with some power there of late as well. 3 homers over his last 10, 18 homers now on the year for Torkelson is there. So a lot of different spots. I mentioned Nicky Lopez already. You could go if you're not on Emerson Hancock. Kansas City has some guys that you could play. Massey still is $3,000. Pablo Reyes is $3,100. Man's been hitting all over the Red Sox lineup. So it could be a spot for him there as well.
Pablo Reyes, I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Listen, I knocked him. I laughed at him, and then he's been the best hitter on the team. So
he's been good.
Buddy Julian. Kennedy too, by the way, maybe against Ty Block in cores 2,900. Sure. Didn't play today because the matchup that they had, but hopefully with Black on the mound now here, a lefty, they'll have Buddy Kennedy in the lineup for Tuesday.
Yeah, same thing. We said Gabriel Moreno as well at a catcher spot. They'll have Moreno right back in line, and we know prior to the injury, he hit lefties extremely well.
Yes, 100%. Let's move on over to the outfield position then. Talk about obviously these top end guys here. Acuna still hasn't broken the 7K barrier, 68. Ohtani 67. Judge against Elder at 65. Still playing Carroll against the lefty and Block. I'm good there. Any like core top spends for you? Like you're going right there. This is your one plug.
Acuna,
yeah. Severino's just that bad, man. He just came in relief last game and immediately was just giving runs. So
their reasoning was because the first time around he has like bad first innings, and it's like, okay, he just had a bad first inning in the 4th inning. it wasn't the second inning or the third inning. It's just he's just bad.
He's just not good. So
Acuna, I would put Judge up there too. Like Elder has not been good for like a little bit now. He continues to struggle and not miss bats.
I know.
But like you could kind of say like Acuna, Judge. You could say that about Betts. You can play Corbin Carroll, even though really bad numbers against lefties for Corbin Carroll this year. And I know he's been struggling a lot lately, but the numbers have really been bad for him against lefties. Julio Rodriguez is really interesting, 56. He's been really good of late, stealing bases and hitting for power.
Yeah.
So I would pay for Julio Rodriguez. He's up near the top.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get a matchup against Jordan Lyles, especially if that wind is blowing out tonight, on Tuesday, like it was Monday, dude. Like all in on some Seattle bats here for sure. Finding our way into that spot. Down in the mid-tier range here, I loved Lourdes on the Monday slate. Can certainly get back to that. Nolan Jones there at 47. You mentioned Judge. I mean, Stanton's not hitting for average, but he's hitting for power still. So, could knock one for him there. You got the Red Sox bats. What's the mid-tier standout for you?
Nootbaar 45 I like, and Tommy Pham 42. Sure. Tommy Pham has hit lefties extremely well this year. He's hitting third for Arizona when lefties on the mound. So I'm gonna go right to Tommy Pham 4,200 to save a little money getting some Coors Field.
I like that. Yeah, I think that Riley Green obviously is in play here as well.
Yes.
At 44 again, if you're not playing Bailey Ober for sure. All in on Texas guys. They dropped Michael Harris's price. They dropped it against Severino.
And there's a chance he hits second.
There's a chance he hits second.
What are we doing?
I don't know. 44, 44, 44, 44. I think that's what he was on the Monday slate as well. Crazy. There's $300 discount against the worst pitcher in baseball almost. Chris Flex is the worst pitcher in baseball, but Sedmol, Waka off the IL. We didn't talk Waka. We liked Yu Darvish on the Monday slate.
We did.
Would you try Waka fresh off the IL?
I don't know. It's a shoulder. He threw 67 innings in the Padres complex. That was the last time he threw. So 80 pitches, I assume, right? $9,800. That's a tough sell. I know he's been.
Yeah.
But I know your laugh because it's like, so is the rest of the slate.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe he's one of like 6 pitchers that like could score double figures.
He was really good for this year.
He was. So. He has been really good. He has been. We were telling people, and nobody was playing him. He was 2%. Look at his game log.
How long he was in the 7K range. We're like, what are people missing here on Waka? I think there could be a case to be made for him. But if not, Cedric Mullins is 41. Carpenter here. Dude just tore apart the Red Sox that last weekend. 3 homers in that series. 459 with a 1,300 OPS. I mean, feels pretty nice at $3,900. Story homered on Monday. It can't account on the homer to happen again, but does have a righty on the mound, so maybe he runs.
I mean, he'd run if the pitcher threw from first base.
True. That is true here. All right, under 4K. We didn't talk about Luis, Robert, or Eloy, I don't think, but would be willing to play them both against Hendricks, given the Hendricks home splits. Outman had a good game the other day, right? Yeah, Outman's on fire.
Dude, he's been really good. Yeah. He was my top play.
Yeah, Outman 3,500 against Hauser looks pretty tasty. I played Marlowe on Monday. We'll see how that ends up finishing, but I don't mind going back to Marlowe against Lyles.
He's been good.
He has been good. All of LA, if you're not playing Montgomery, right? Renfroe, Drury, that whole crew, lefties against righties against Montgomery.
Sure.
Anybody else?
Sure. Kepler
Pieta,
33. Yeah. He continues to hit home runs. Sure. Charlie Blackmon returned, hit leadoff on Monday. $3,300. I know he hasn't been great, but
look what his pricing was before.
I know. I was going to say, this is like significantly cheaper than we've gotten him all year. So,
I don't think he hasn't been below once. $3,800 back in April 15th.
He was 35 in April 26th.
Right. But after that, he's been like 5K the rest of the year. Not deservingly so. He's just been 5K.
Yep.
Sure. That plays.
Peralta 31 to kind of pile on the Dodger stack. He's been really good. Like 357 over his last 10 games. He was just always a good hitter.
Melendez is down to 29.
That's good. And like, as much as we keep touting Hancock, it's not like we're
really touting him because he's the only guy under 7K usable. Where is Rosario? Rosario had a monster night tonight. Now he's got Severino at $3,700. Yeah. I'm not trying to make it a habit of just picking on your Yankees and Luis Severino, but like,
dude, I don't care. I know it's terrible. We lost the Sunday loss 7-3 in the ninth sealed the season. I mean, that was like icing on the cake of a terrible year already.
Yeah. All right, so that's a look here at the outfield position. Let's do our best. Let's build the lineup. I feel like we have to play Emerson because we want Braves, right?
Yeah.
But as I say this, by the way, we're recording here. Bobby Witt just went yard. Salvi Perez homered earlier in the game. Casey's hot, right? So like, it's not great.
I know. It's not great. I mean, also,
if we do Pivetta and Kikuchi.
Yes.
That gives us
we can't. I don't.
41.
Here's the problem. You're gonna go to Nicky
Lopez.
Yeah. I was gonna say you're gonna go to Lopez, but we cannot guarantee he's gonna play because the one thing we know about the Braves is that when like people are healthy, they just all play. Right? Like they don't play their bench guys. They just play everybody.
Right.
So like playing Nicky Lopez doesn't feel real unless,
let's see here. Where's Buddy?
He's free.
4,900 shortstop.
Lindor.
Doesn't seem terrible.
Doesn't feel terrible.
Melendez, Massey. We got Kennedy and Moreno, which probably connected the bottom of the Arizona lineup here.
Yeah.
Olsen, Acuna, Harris, which is either 1-2-3 or 9-1-2 or 9-1-3, something like that. Yep. Lindor versus a lefty who's been hot, right? And then Pivetta, Kikuchi, no dollars left over. For as much pitching and complaining as we just made, I feel like we made a pretty competent lineup there fairly quickly. The Rubik's Cube came together. Is this going to be a good lineup pitching-wise? We'll see.
TBD.
But to be honest, maybe the two best pitchers price-wise on this price per dollar on the slate. So
maybe, yeah.
This could very well just be a night where you need your offense to carry you. So we'll just take that into account. James and I will be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern time for everybody here, breaking down the main slate, giving you lineup updates, weather updates. Hopefully this slate doesn't look like it. There's no rain logos on the 13 gamer here, but pray for the weather gods. Maybe we'll get a late pitching change to help us. Logan Gilbert wasn't on the Monday slate when we recorded until the afternoon. So maybe we'll get some updates here and add anybody to our lineups. Watch out for the playbook. Get in the Discord if you're not already a Fantasy Center member. fantasycenter.com/allpro. Comes with a 7-day free trial. Gives you access to everything on site, including the premium Discord and access to our fantasy football draft guide and fantasy football cheat sheet for free. So try us out. Sign up today. Get access to everything we do on site as part of your membership. James and I will be back later today, 5 o'clock Eastern. We'll talk to you then.